Hurry up, you're going to be late for school, Diane shouted. Come in, Mom, Betty replied as she ran from her room towards the door. Diane was a single mother to 15-year-old Betty. She began the journey when John died on duty as a police officer 7 years ago. She remembered that morning when it kissed and told her to get dressed for their wedding anniversary celebration, only for her to receive a distress call from his partner Steve that John was shot and had died on the spot. The news made her pass out, and when she opened her eyes, it was on the hospital bed. Since then, she had focused on taking care of Elizabeth, who was a striking resemblance of her father. Sorry, Mom, Betty apologized. I really do not know what you were doing in your room, talking to aliens, Diane asked, and both of them smiled at each other. Be good, Betty, and always remember that Mommy loves you, Diane said when she got to her daughter's school gate. I love you too, Mom, Betty replied and ran to meet her friends. A loud bang from behind made Diane froze for a second. She got down from her car after she overcame the shock. I am so sorry. I was on call and lost concentration, the person who walked towards her pleaded. Without any response, Diane walked to the back of her car to check the degree of the damage done. She fumed at what she saw. She just made some repairs on this car and the cost was alarming. Mr. Man, why would you be calling while driving? Do you know the cost of these damages you have done due to your irresponsible act? Do you? She said that angrily. I apologize once again, madam. And yes, I would pay for the damages, I promise, the man said calmly. Good, she replied. Diane handed him a card to call when his auto mechanic was ready to come and do the repairs. Your number or address, mister. I need it to track you if you decide to run away and not do the needful, she said with a stern face. Run away for what? How much will it cost to repair this car that I would want to do that? The man asked with a surprised smile that Diane tagged as bragging. Mr. Richie, I don't care how much it would cost. I don't care if you can afford it. All I ask is to give me a means to contact you if I don't see your auto mechanic, she said with boldness. Okay, I will be expecting your call, Mr. Richie, she said and walked back to her car. I am not Mr. Richie. My name is Sean. You know you could have asked or checked the card if you were so eager to know my name, he said with a smile. I don't care about you or your name, Mr. Richie. All I care about right now is how you're going to fix my car. And please move your car out of my way, she said and drove off when he had moved his car. Diane could hear her daughter talking to someone who rang the doorbell and wondered who that person was. She got out of her bed and moved closer to the door when she saw Mr. Richie. What are you doing here? I thought you said your auto mechanic would come and pick the car for repairs, Diane asked. Good morning, he said calmly. We came together for quick confirmation. I mean, to avoid your questions and moody attitude if he showed up alone, he replied, giving a silly grin. Moody attitude? What does he mean by that? Diane pondered silently. Mom, who are they? Betty asked. The man who hit my car and his mechanic, she replied abruptly. What an introduction, Sean thought. Diane went inside, took her car key, and joined the men outside. They went to where a car was parked, and the mechanic began to check at the damages. That was quite some introduction you did there, Miss Diane, he said. It's Diane, Mr. Richie, she corrected. It's Sean, not Mr. Richie. I don't know why you call me that. Since my car is this car that costs less, I believe you are rich enough to repair it ASAP, and I can see you are doing it as promised, she replied. Oh, you are angry because I said I can't run away because of your car. That is why you decided to call me Richie and even added a mister, he asked, laughing aloud. Okay, I didn't mean to be rude and I apologize for that, Diane. Fine, apologies for the way I sounded then and this morning too. The auto mechanic informed them that it would take him 4 days to finish the repairs on the car. 4 days? How will I drop my daughter to school and get to my office? Do you know the cost of taking a taxi? Diane lamented. Handed him the key and worriedly watched as he drove the car away to his workshop. If you and your husband don't mind, I can be your driver within those days, Sean volunteered. No husband, just my daughter and I, Diane said, giving him an unconvinced look. Don't worry, my daughter would not mind also. She goes to the same school as your daughter, he said as if he'd read her mind. What about her mother? What will you tell her? Diane asked, still looking doubtful. It is me and my daughter, no wife or mother. My wife died few years ago, he said sadly. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Diane said, that's okay. It was a long time ago, so there is nothing to worry about. Sean responded. Alright then, Monday it is. We leave home around 7 a.m. She walked into his car and saw him drove off. Mom, I think I have seen that man who hit your car before. You might have, darling. I think his daughter goes to your school. Oh yes, that's Mr. Benson in Juliet's that day, she said with a surprised look. Diane did not respond. She walked straight to the kitchen to make them breakfast. While watching her favorite evening program on Sunday, her phone rang. Sean called to inform her that they will be coming to pick them around 6:45 a.m., which was fine by her. They bid good night and hung up. Diane informed her daughter of the arrangement and warned her to be up early on Monday. At the sound of the car horn, Diane and Betty were already at the doorstep. Betty greeted Sean and Juliet, and they both responded. Sean introduced Juliet to Diane, and the young teenager greeted her. While the girls had conversation among themselves, Sean and Diane sat beside each other in awkward silence. So, where is your workplace? Sean asked after they dropped off the girls at their school. My bad, I should have told you earlier. Cravey Shopping Mall along Preston. Oh wow, I work along Preston too. Ford's construction firm. I know that place. It's closer to my workplace. Yes, it is. My closing hour is 4 p.m. Thanks for the ride, Sean. Same as mine, don't mention. See you then. She nodded and walked into her office. They got to the girls' school, picked them up and drove straight to Diane's house. She thanked them again when they got to her house. That evening at dinner, Juliet told her dad that she liked Betty's mother. Could you believe she's a widow? Betty told me her dad died while on his police duty when she was 8 years old. Her mom had never been married since then. Such a beautiful woman, she said, looking sad and at the same time giving his daddy a naughty look. Even though he felt pity for Diane, he wasn't going to fall into the trap, so he nodded and continued to eat his food. While Diane and Betty watched their favorite TV show, Betty told her mom that Mr. Benson was a widower, which Diane replied that she was aware. Mom, Juliet told me her mom died during childbirth of her second baby, but she and the baby couldn't make it. Since then, her dad never remarried. Such a handsome man, she said sadly with a cheeky look. Diane felt sad for the family. Losing a loved one can be painful. She missed John every day, but her joy was when she looked at this carbon copy Betty. She believed it was still with them. That's a pity, but they have both scaled through together just like us, she said with a smile. The routine continued, and by the fourth day, when she received a call from the mechanic that the car was ready and would be dropped at her house, she was already enjoying the ride with Sean. They had lunch together the previous day during their breaks, and he had offered the same that day. During the lunch break at school, the girls had agreed to matchmake their single parents together. Juliet had complained of how his dad had decided to be single and never dated any lady, same as Betty's mom. Betty needed a dad, likewise Juliet yearned for a mom. When their parents came to pick them up, Juliet suggested to her dad to invite Betty and her mom over for his birthday. He had planned to do so, but drew back at the last minute for no reason. We would like to come, right, Mom? Betty asked her mom. If it's okay with your dad, Juliet. It's fine with me. I had planned to invite you when we get to your house. It's on Saturday. Okay. By the time they got home, her car was already waiting for her. She couldn't understand why she felt a little bit sad. I guess Juliet's dad will not be picking us again, Betty asked. Yes, he won't. Our car is back, she said, trying to sound excited. They had lunch together the following day, and Sean officially invited her to his birthday, which she accepted. Even though he stopped being a driver, they continued to talk and chat on phone ever since, and still go for lunch during their breaks. What are you wearing to Mr. Benson's birthday party tomorrow? Betty asked. I haven't thought of it, you know. I will just check out something from my closet, she replied. Not just anything, Mom. Something very nice like that beautiful gown. Okay, Betty. I'll put your advice into consideration. Thank you. Anne looked at the mirror several times to question her outfit. She wore the gown her daughter had suggested, but felt too extravagant. She was thinking of changing her outfit when Betty entered. "Wow, Mom, you look so beautiful," she said with a big smile. Her daughter's compliment gave her the boldness needed, and she smilingly thanked her. Sean kept looking at his watch and outside the window. He was so eager to see Diane again, even though they'd spoken that morning when she called to wish him a happy birthday. His daughter noticed his unsteadiness and smiled. Her plans with Betty were perfectly working. She noticed at that excitement whenever he was on phone with Diane. Sean walked hastily towards the door when the doorbell sounded. He opened the door and was wowed at what he was seeing. "So beautiful," he said without giving it a second thought. "Thank you and happy birthday, Sean," Diane replied with a smile. "Happy birthday, Mr. Benson," Betty said. "Thank you, Betty," he replied. Betty left her mom with Sean and walked hurriedly to meet Juliet. Sean introduced her to his friend, and when it was time to dance, he asked Diane to dance with him. The two danced romantically and was into each other so much that none heard when the music stopped. It was the applause of the guests that brought them back. Betty and Juliet smiled and gave themselves a high five. Diane helped with the cleaning after the guests left that evening. She and Sean talked and laughed while watching the play that they forgot what the time was. By the time they realized the time was fast spent, Diane told them they would be going. She called her daughter and bid goodbye to the Bensons. That night, both adults couldn't sleep. Sean reminisced on the dance they shared. Women thought of the moments of laughter they had during the cleaning and washing. Sean called the following morning to appreciate her kind gesture shown on his birthday and asked if she would like to go on a friendly dinner date with him that evening. After that dinner date, more dates began to emerge. He would invite her to his company's annual feast. He booked lunch of his friend, his family's birthdays. He even introduced her to his widowed mother as his special friend. Their daughters felt happy because they knew their parents were already in love with each other. Betty watched her mom looking more younger by the day and always happy when Sean called. Juliet saw how her dad always handled the cooking whenever Dan was coming over for either lunch or dinner. Her handsome dad even stopped watching his favorite sporting show just to chat with Diane. It had been 18 months since they both met and became friends. Sean knew what he felt for Diane had gone beyond friendship. He knew they both liked each other, so he decided to man up and tell her his feelings. He called to invite her for dinner, which as usual, she accepted. After placing order, they began to talk when Sean changed the discussion. "Diane, since Kelly's death, I have never been involved with women in terms of being in a relationship. But since I met you, I found out that love can be experienced again. I am always excited to hear your voice, to see you smile, and to have you with me. Diane, I am madly in love with you. I want to wake up with you by my side. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Diane looked at him and smiled. "Sean, I found love distasteful when John passed away. I thought no one could love me like he did. But since I met you, I feel young again. I love you too, Sean, very much." Without saying a word, he locked his lips in hers, and she welcomed it wholeheartedly. The children have finished knowing about when they informed them of their relationship. While Juliet thanked Diane for bringing joy into her dad's life, Betty thanked Sean for making her mom feel young again. 6 months later, they got married and traveled to Germany to have their honeymoon. Looking at the early morning sun from their room, they held each other tight and sealed their everlasting love with a kiss that says, "You are mine forever."